What is up, everybody? Solomon here. Hope you all are having a fantastic Tuesday. If you see any scam ads on this video, please do not participate in those. Took a break over the weekend here. Some interesting news has come out. But first, I wanted to touch base on I did a video about a week ago stating that I was going to do a video breaking down the top 100. I did some research this weekend. I do not feel the necessity at this point to do a video on every coin/token 1 to 100, but what I will do is present the ones that I find news on or partnerships that I believe have utility for long-term holds. Because I'm not a trader, and some of the news that I had found and some of the projects that I looked into that appeared sketchy to me that I would not have recommended have done unsustainable pumps, which is fine, but I don't want to sit and provide positive and negative news and then you guys take it as financial advice. Even though I am not a financial advisor, do not base your investments off of anything that I present. But if somebody were to do that and I presented something negatively in a coin that may or may not be a scam, pumps whatever it pumps, because I negatively recommended it and they did not buy it, I don't want to have that responsibility on my shoulder, so I won't be doing that. But I will present the positive news, and I'm going to go through the list here. I'm going to look into some DeFi stuff and present the relationships, and maybe do a little bit of informational and educational videos on some of that in the near future. Okay, but I wanted to start with Crypto Eddie's tweet today. Please do not make me listen to any more videos from years past with Christine Lagarde, who is head of the European Central Bank, Ryan Zagone or Miguel Valles, formerly Ripple employees. Please graduate to where we are at today because it is a very different landscape. And for God's sake, not that 2017 Everest NTT data presentation. If you haven't seen that 2017 NTT data presentation, you should go look at it. But I do agree with what she's saying here. Presenting regurgitated news as fact, as hopium, as content that's going to make newer investors feel like we're going to go to the moon here any minute is a little bit irresponsible, in my opinion. Now, as a caveat to her tweet, though, I will say I often do discuss older news, but I generally try to stick to whenever it's in the context of newer announcements from these institutions, because I believe that it provides a good backdrop, and it provides some scope for everybody to see kind of the developments over the years in this space. That's something that I'm going to do in this video here, because Ant Group had a huge announcement about 4 days ago, okay? And we've also got the Bank of England here. Now, Ant Group, this is September 25th, launches B2B or business-to-business exporter blockchain trading platform. And this just goes to show you that, Ant Group, which is a subsidiary of Alibaba, which is one of the largest, if, arguably the largest organization or business in the world, everybody's in blockchain. Everybody's going to be in digital assets as well. Now, what's interesting about this, are the banking relationships going on with this trading platform. And believe it or not, they do tie directly into RippleNet. However, I will place a big caveat on what I'm about to present to you. Just because something can connect to Ripple does not mean that it will connect to Ripple. I believe that most of these institutions and banking entities are future-proofing across the board here, and they are opening up themselves for any potential future situations that they may need to cover without essentially obsoleting themselves from the market. So now, this does directly tie into Ripple, though, and you'll see in a second. Ant Group launches B2B exporter blockchain trading platform, and we can see here the Hangzhou-based division of Alibaba Group Holding is seeking a record return of at least $35 billion as it becomes a public company. This is Ant Group becoming a public company. If successful, it would eclipse state-owned, a public company in the Hong Kong and Shanghai markets after its valuation of about $250 billion. I mean, that's huge. Ant, which operates Alipay, the mobile payments app, introduced Trustable in Shanghai on Friday. Now, Trustable is this blockchain initiative, just like Alipay was announced, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, we get it, right? Pay attention to some of the partner banks in here: Citibank, Deutsche Bank, BNP Paribas, DBS, and Standard Chartered. I'm going to directly talk about Standard Chartered because, in my opinion, they underpin the initial rollout of this platform here, and Standard Chartered has some very interesting relationships with Ripple as well. So this is just another example of a bank 100% future-proofing and trying to tackle all potential pitfalls for their future survival, in my opinion here. But as a heads up, if you're ever doing research this came out on payments.com without the A, PYMNTS in the E. Now, always look into the actual press release that comes from the company as well. And, maybe you already know this, but for the people that don't and that are actually trying to research, it behooves you to actually look at these actual releases. And this is how I found this information today, okay? So this is Standard Chartered's release, okay? Now, this is basically saying they've completed the first live transaction on blockchain-enabled trading platform Trustpool. Now, this was directly on their bank. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's Ant Financial partnered with Alipay, which is part of this initiative here. And they are the chosen settlement bank for certain corridors. Now, what's interesting about their official release here is this. In addition, the automation of all trade processes combined with seamless connectivity to Standard Chartered's straight-to-bank digital banking platform creates a closed-loop ecosystem, leading to faster turnaround times and greater cost efficiencies for business. Read that again. This is directly with this Trustful platform here, okay? So integrating their Standard Chartered is integrating their financial services with Trustful. They are also having seamless connectivity to Standard Chartered's straight to bank digital banking platform. Okay. Now pay attention to straight to bank digital banking platform. We see here, this is from 2017. This is why older news, I always pay attention to older news and try to tie everything together. I am not saying they're going to utilize RippleNet. I am not saying they're going to utilize XRP. But if you don't believe that the option is there through open APIs, I mean, it definitely is. I don't know why Ant would use it, but perhaps if Ripple gets big enough and XRP gains enough liquidity and a market share, then maybe they would. Okay, but financial institutions Standard Chartered and Axis Bank have announced a new cross-border payments platform built on top of technology developed by Ripple. CoinDesk is not really the best news source, so there are multiple other news sources for this. Now, this right here, though, is the same announcement. However, this offering is now commercially available between Standard Chartered, this is RippleNet, is now commercially available between Standard Chartered and Axis Bank India, and accessible through Standard Chartered's corporate digital banking platform, Straight to Bank. What do we see from the press release from Standard Chartered about Alipay and Trustpool? Seamless connectivity to Standard Chartered's Straight to Bank digital banking platform, creating a closed-loop ecosystem. Ripple is obviously in this closed-loop ecosystem. Makes you think, right? Another connection to Standard Chartered here is the Access platform. We can see this. This is banking as a service, or I'm sorry, banking as a platform, this is the end game for Standard Chartered here. Essentially, just having an application where you can utilize the best service that you want to use based on utility in the future. Banking as a platform. This is Access, AXESS. Interesting. Now, Standard Chartered is a provider of RippleNet on Access as well. Another interesting slide from this. This Access is built for scale. First transaction, $10 million. Second transaction is 10 cents. Attention span of people, 3 to 5 seconds. I know something else that's 3 to 5 seconds, but I don't want to make that relationship there. Now, Access is very much so part of Ant Financial. They appointed Standard Chartered, this Access platform, to be the core partner bank for its new blockchain cross-border remittance solution. Okay? So there are tie-ins here. Old news is relevant to an extent, but presenting it as new news every day is nonsense. But Ant Group is a giant. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that they're going to utilize XRP or RippleNet. But what I am going to tell you is that the core bank for their blockchain system is, utilizes Ripple in their closed loop ecosystem. So it is definitely an option. All right. Now, interestingly enough here, just real quick, January 2nd, 2018, the United States blocked MoneyGram's sale to China's Ant Financial on national security concerns. Just very interesting because we saw here at the end of January 2018, same month, MoneyGram CEO plans waves with Ripple. This is talking about their piloting XRP. So interesting rhetoric there. Okay, now this came across, I think this was today. No, this was probably a couple days ago. Yeah, this was on Friday as well. What are we doing to help individuals and businesses make faster and cheaper cross-border payments? This is about the renewed real-time gross settlement payments infrastructure through the Bank of England. And this is all about improving cross-border payments, making international trade more efficient, supporting economic growth and global development, migrant workers who send money overseas, gig workers. Now, this is about working with other central banks, the G20 making it a priority. We know the G20's talked about blockchain. But what's interesting, and they're talking about the renewed real-time gross settlement system, is, and I did a video on this probably 6 or 7 months ago, actually back in January. I actually had like the video of Victoria Cleland here. This breaks it down pretty straightforward though, because we know since then that the tech partner that Bank of England has to build out this renewed RTGS system is Accenture. And the Bank of England's new real-time gross settlement system will be compatible with distributed ledger technologies, says Victoria Cleland. You can watch my older video on this as well. This is probably in January of this year. It was decided a while ago in the program that we did not want to use distributed ledger technology to build the new real-time gross settlement system, but we are very conscious of developments in technology. Now, she's saying right here, a couple of years ago, we ran a proof of concept to see whether or not DLT-based companies could connect to what we would be planning for the new system, and that was successful. It showed that there are a few things we'll probably tweak to enhance distributed ledger technology's ability to connect with the system. We've thought about it. We are not building on DLT, but we'll make sure DLT can be used to connect to it. And I definitely believe, they talked about a couple years ago, that this, in my opinion, I believe this has to do with Interledger Protocol, which was developed by Ripple, invented by Ripple, gifted to the W3C, the internet, basically. They also trialed RippleNet. So can make assumptions if we want to, take everything with a grain of salt. Many things could have changed in 3 years. But what's interesting, if you go down below this a little bit more here, the system, well, they do talk about the renewed system intersecting with other payments infrastructure, such as Pay.UK's new payments architecture. It will remain the UK's key settlement system. Now, this is this gentleman from Accenture, the managing director, which Accenture has been selected to renew the real-time gross settlement system, saying the settlements modernization will be a living system that can be updated easily. I love this verbiage, though, right here. The architecture of the platform is modular, so it's not static, right? And if there is a change in one part of it, e.g., or for example, Swift messages, it does not need a change to the whole real-time gross settlement system. There's a lot of automation in the delivery lifecycle so that future changes are quicker and easier to do. The dude from Accenture is saying the architecture of the renewed RTGS is modular. And if there's a change to them utilizing Swift messages for any reason, there may be a need to, let's say, as speculation, remove the need for Swift messaging or whatever, they don't need to change the whole system. So Accenture's telling you right there. Just for some scope, this is Ripple's proof of concept, aka a couple of years ago. And we all know Accenture is a systems integrator for RippleNet. And, this is defining a cross-border settlement scheme, Accenture's scheme operating model framework and its components with Ripple distributed ledger technology as the core infrastructure and under the control of participating banks. So, many things could have changed since 2017, 2018, 2019. They all change. But it's very interesting to me, and I'll just provide my 2 cents on this, that a lot of news has dropped off that is available to the public eye with Ripple. If you do enough research into RippleNet, into XRP, a lot of this stuff tends to drop off after 2017, which is pretty interesting because we know that a lot of these central banks have been testing CBDCs, distributed ledger technology, since about 2017. So I can make my own speculations here. I'm going to continue to try to tie in older news, but only based on newer announcements. But, talking about things going to the moon based on a document from 5 years ago is complete nonsense, because we all know how quickly this space shifts. Who would have thought that, the DeFi space would have blown up this year? And it's completely evolving. I'm excited to see where regulations go. I do believe that the Standard Chartered tie-ins are probably still relevant. We know that Standard Chartered sits on the Global Payment Steering Group of RippleNet. But I also believe that a lot of this is about future-proofing. These institutions making sure that they have all their bases covered so that whoever these technology providers and the distributed ledger technology companies, whichever ones win, these banks are already going to be integrated. These legacy financial institutions want to already be integrated so that they don't lose. Because do you think that the rich are going to not become richer, or do you think that they're going to maintain their wealth and grow on it? Because they see that the tide is changing here. So they need to maintain relevance by trying to, dot the I's and cross the T's as much as they can. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If there's news tomorrow, I will present that as well. Start looking into some other assets for you all also. So, all right, take it easy. Later.